Before we begin, thank you very much to Super Mega Ultra Alpha Omega Hyper Turbo Bigger, Longer, and Uncut Convoy for joining the Patreon campaign. Okay, two things here. Number one, Uncut Convoy implies the existence of a cut convoy, and I never show me that. But also, that's one of those that you will have to like change that name in Patreon and shorten it down to what you really want to be called, because you pitched it at a high tier, which means I need to actually find that name, and Patreon doesn't like super long names. But thank you very much for the support. Very, very appreciated. So, I did my top 10 toys of 2025, but I neglected to flip the script and do the opposite side of things. So we need to discuss the worst toys of last year, don't we? Now, to be fair, I'm not calling this the worst of the worst, because frankly, there are toys in this list that really aren't all that bad. But I'm calling it the most disappointing of 2025, because in one way or another, these toys were just letdowns and just generally just did not hit the mark they were going for. So trying to be nice to them a little bit, because, you know, toys are overall a lot better than they used to be. Oh, but we do have some bad ones in the list. Do not worry. We will get to those. We will get to those. So, without any further ado, here are my top 10 most disappointing Transformer toys of 2025. I'm going to start the list with my most controversial choice. This is to flush out the weak who cannot handle a different opinion. Those who tune out after this choice is announced will not survive the coming winter. The current winter. This is Star Optimus Prime. I don't like putting a Titan on this list, but honestly, like, it just didn't click. It just doesn't. It's one of those toys that's the epitome of just take the original and add articulation to it. As someone who owned the original Star Convoy, the transformation is barely any different from its predecessor. There's really not much changed visually, which is a plus on one hand, but also, you know, the only real improvement is bulking out the truck side of the vehicle mode, and that's about it. I still hate the base mode. It just looks like the Optimus Prime shrine. I don't see any like real tricks that like Titan class toys should be capable of. It's great that it still comes with a hot rod toy. That way you can actually use the base mode right out of the box without buying core class figures, which aren't available anymore. But there's odd things about it, you know? Like you come with one container truck, but all the other toys from G1 that had container trucks have next to no chance of getting new figures. We're not getting a Sky Gary anytime soon. So why have two spots if you're only going to use one container truck? And why sculpt the legs so that the container truck can't just roll straight into them? There's a block that gets in the way. I hate it. I don't know. It just felt like a weird release. It felt underwhelming for a Titan. And I know it's a cheaper, smaller Titan than usual, but it's still the biggest, most expensive retail toy of the year. It needed to shine more than this, but when even the name, Star Optimus Prime, is a letdown, you needed to put a little bit more into it. Here's one I had a lot of hopes for that just overall came together in a poor way and got underwhelming very quickly, and that was Solless Prime. I don't like putting her on this list either. There's qualities to that toy I really like. Visually, I think she looks fantastic. I could use a little bit more of a solid truck mode, but the visual of the robot mode is great. It's a female Transformer toy that doesn't leave a whole lot of like kibble across her back. You know, there's promise here. But I feel like the engineering of the toy just comes up short and just makes the whole piece frustrating. I hate transforming this toy. I absolutely hate it. It's way too fiddly, and it's got way too like it's those little panels, right? That's the hang up for everybody. It's those little tiny panels that are easy to pop off that you need to cover up gaps in the vehicle mode. I really wanted this thing to be solid. Like, just from the photos, it looked like she was going to be fantastic. Like, everything I wanted from a female Transformer toy. She's not just a motorcycle. She's a truck, meaning, hey, maybe we can get some, like, Firestar retool out of her or something. And she was one of the primes, one of the first ones out. So you thought they'd put a good foot forward here. And she just kind of came out okay. Like, okay at the best. She's not a toy I'm ever going to, like, pick up and grab because I'm in the mood to mess with her, you know? So, unfortunately, she has to be on the list. I'll put her low. Because she's not entirely bad, but she absolutely should have been better. Or at the very least, she should have been a lot more solid. Here's one of those toys that had me in the first half, and then the more I had it and the more I messed around with it, the more I soured. I think that happened to a lot of people. This is Devastation Optimus Prime. I think one reason why we all got sick of this toy is because it was shelf-warming pegs for the entire year, right? Because it's an A-level toy. It got released year-round at every store, so everyone had a full peg of them at all times. And you could see why. You know, it does strike Robot Master's convoy, which is not a good thing. The vehicle mode just looks cheap. It just does. Like, the mismatched shades of red, the gaps with the legs visible, and it's not a pretty sight, is it? The robot mode is okay. You can take issue with some things about it, you know, proportions, aesthetic, etc. And that's entirely fair. It's not for everybody, and overall, yeah, it does feel like a very cheap Prime figure at deluxe class, which is really, really unfortunate. I mean, it looks okay. I think it makes a decent Prime action figure, but it still does weird things that I can't excuse, you know? I don't get the tiny little matrix that can barely fit in his hands. I don't know why they went with the Energon axe as his weapon. It's Devastation Optimus, so yes, they're going to include that axe because you're primarily using melee weapons in that game. I don't understand why it looks like cheese. I don't know why it has that color or texture to it. I don't know why it is, like, for once, it's me saying, why isn't it translucent? No, it's just painted over red. Why does it have a built-in effect part of it slashing down? Maybe I don't want to pose him with being in mid-slash. Maybe it looks weird the way I want to pose him. It just makes odd choices, you know? And it doesn't clean itself up. It's like an Optimus Prime. This is like going by the numbers. And just whatever gets him there, gets him there. I could have done with a much better figure here. I mean, just like a little bit more substantial in the robot mode, at least feeling a little bit more solid. And then, yeah, it could have done with a way better vehicle mode. Just overall, just a letdown of a toy. And hey, at the very least, you had plenty of chances to get it on clearance by now. There is such temptation to put a bunch of combiners on this list, especially aerial bots, because they felt so basic and boring to me as individual toys. But this is about being disappointed by figures, and in that, I actually wasn't disappointed in those, because I got exactly what I was expecting. But when it comes to the Constructicons, poor Bone Crusher. I'm not sure Bone Crusher is ever going to get a good figure at this rate, because I don't think his design allows it. So we have, our traditional Bone Crusher boy, and he has to be accurate, right? He has to be show accurate, because that's the whole thing. It's, it's the 86 line, it's Studio Series. So they went cartoon accurate to its detriment. The overall engineering of the toy is kind of a mess. The design itself, you've got you've got some weird proportions, like his arms are a little bit small, his legs are a little bit too thick. And then there is this, like, the things that are forced upon him, like the fact that having the scoop chest means he has no waist joint, and also having no color whatsoever because he's cartoon accurate. One of my biggest complaints about the modern Devastator design is that he's got two sets of treads here along his chest, and if both of them were purple, it would look great, but only one is, because Bone Crusher has to be stark green. He is not allowed color deviation at any time whatsoever. He just looks boring. He just looks boring. I associate Constructicons with green and purple, and the only purple featured on him besides his hands is the Decepticon emblem. It's a letdown. It's a really, really dull figure. There's just nothing, there's just no way of getting around it. But yeah, that's basically going to be Bone Crusher's curse. Unless Devastator gets a massive redesign to allow him to actually change into something a little bit more interesting, every Bone Crusher that's seeking to be cartoon or even toy accurate is just going to be flat green. And as long as that scoop's there, it's going to hinder what he can do as an action figure. So overall, a letdown. I was really hoping for more improvement than he got, and this is it. I saw this one coming. I saw this one coming a mile away. And when it happened, oh boy. Yeah, pretty much what I thought. So normally, when I do these lists, I'm looking for first run figures. I am not looking for any kind of repaints or retools of previous year's toys. I just needed, I just wanted to have like brand new stuff that is currently disappointing to me. But I make an exception here. And because for the worst, I looked at literally everything. And that led me to Reckgar. Age of the Primes Reckgar. The second we saw Trashmaster's robot mode in the new, in my news roundup videos, I looked at that and went, that's going to be animated Reckgar, isn't it? They're going to force that mold to be Reckgar. Oh no. Oh no. Let's talk here. The super bright colors do not work on the vehicle mode whatsoever. The vehicle is designed to be Mad Max, spikes and chains sculpted in, greeble details, and when you put those bright cartoony colors on it, it's such a clash of aesthetic. It doesn't work. And then you put him into robot mode, and he's still got all these spikes around him, and that's not animated Reckgar. That's not even close to animated Reckgar. It looks like animated Reckgar is going through a punk phase. It looks like animated Reckgar joined a gang, which he'd be gullible enough to do that. It's exactly what I feared it would be. They could have retooled it. Man, they could have retooled it to have a clean bumper, clean windshields, get rid of the spikes and chain. Nope, straight repaint with a brand new head. And man, that head clashes with the aesthetic, doesn't it? That is a head straight out of Derek Wyatt's sketchbook, and it matches none of the rest of the figure whatsoever. Didn't even give him his little claw weapons, nothing. I don't know. And this still goes back to the root of the fact that it's a Iser style figure. It is a Junkion, so he still falls apart, which for a Junkion is fine, but this mold doesn't really work with that combination system because everything's too big. So even in its original function, it's still disappointing of a figure. It's one of those times where I can still call it disappointing even though it's exactly what I knew was coming, because man, this could have been so much better, and frankly, shouldn't have happened at all. Now, I did say I looked at everything in Transformers for 2025 in order to create this list because I didn't want to leave out anything. But I was going to completely exclude Cyberworld since, it's a very quickly made, simple budget line for little kids. It doesn't really feasibly compare to, Generations, Studio Series. But the reality is, they tried to put their best foot forward with a big, expensive gimmick figure, and I feel like they stumbled completely. And I think that's fair to criticize when the rest of the line has been surprisingly okay for what it is. we need to talk about this Scorpionok. So I got this Scorpionok because, like, I like Scorpionoks in general, and I was surprised by the rest of the line, you know? I dropped 15 bucks for an armored cyber changer and actually had fun with it, you know? There's actual play pattern and enjoyable gimmicks. So, okay, you know what? This thing is on sale, 20 bucks off. Let's actually see if this holds up and does the same thing. It absolutely does not. When your line has a big central figure like this, you have got to bring your A game, and they absolutely did not here. Scorpionok transforms by falling on his face. All of his extra like gimmicks that involve like other figures usually require other parts of him. So like the turrets that mount on his legs, those are his shoulder cannons. The motorcycle that he can form, well, you need to pull off his tail and one of his arms to do that. Meaning in order to interact with other figures, you basically have to tear Scorpionok down and remove, any kind of playability that he has himself, which admittedly isn't a lot. Despite the size, he has very limited articulation, just like the rest of the line. You'd expect just a little bit more. I would expect very basic things here, like paint between the legs, black between the legs, so it looks like he has separate legs. At the very least, do that trick for me. What he really needed to do was a rolling gimmick. Just flip a switch and he rolls forward, because the same base that touches ground in robot mode touches in Scorpion mode. So you could have absolutely have just done a rolling gimmick. Like that would have been cool. Like, and I take gimmicks into account these days. I'm not as anti-gimmick as I used to be. But what he's got seems very cheap, very, I don't know, basic. And the result of that is a lot of the parts are easy to fall off too. So his survivability is probably pretty low. It's just a disappointing figure overall for a line that overall surprises me from time to time. And I was hoping bigger cost would surprise me more. No. You wouldn't think they'd get a Seeker mold wrong, right? Because anytime they do a Seeker of any character, you're going to get a bunch more reuses, unless it's the Cybertron Starscream mold, and then I never get more than one. But that said, there are disappointments out there. Some that just do not work whatsoever. And that is the one Starscream Deluxe that came out. I hate this thing. I hate this. I know people who like it, and that's fine. Difference of opinion, that's fine. I really do not like how this toy works. I'm not a fan of the transformation. Like, it has some neat tricks, like how the cockpit works, but other than that, I don't find it does enough. Like when the wings, when the arms end up tucked under the wings and the legs just kind of collapse on themselves to form the underbelly, that's such a basic thing at this point for like cheap Starscreams to do. It just feels like a shortcut. Like, I need a little bit more of a transformation than that. Like, I don't like the weird gun that he comes with. It looks ridiculous. I don't like the limited motion on him. Like, this is a modern toy that doesn't have ankle rockers, which is kind of weird these days. And then there's that face sculpt. Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't know why someone sculpted him with a collagen lips. I don't get it. His face, the face of this toy looks like, you remember when that one art piece got damaged because a cleaner screwed up? So this cleaner just kind of like repainted it like a child would. It looks like that. His face looks like that. It's just an overall just letdown of a toy. I don't think it's well engineered. I don't think it plays well. And I really don't think it even looks good in some details. I mean, I want a Starscream toy, especially like, I like the one Starscream. I like Steve Buscemi Starscream. I wouldn't mind a decent figure of him, but that ain't this. That ain't this. This is just, It's okay at best. It's just got those details that just like really like drive my nerves, right? So this is not going to be everyone to agree on this one, but for me, yeah, I really did not like him. Such high expectations. So much expectation. When we got to look at Age of the Prime toys in advance, I can't remember one I was more excited about than our number 3 listing here. And man, was he just not what I wanted him to be. We need to take another look at Mycronis Prime. So, there is the part where, yes, the core figure, who is the actual Prime, is all translucent plastic, and that drives a lot of concerns with me, especially because he has translucent plastic ball joints in his elbows and knees. That's great! Those never fracture or self-destruct or anything. But it does come down to that mech suit, like to bulk him out to being a deluxe. Now, I didn't expect it to be very playable in the first place, because, the engineering went into a mini-con, but it's even, worse than that for me, He's supposed to be weaponizer, but that leads to weird things like his big flop, board hands that I hate. It leads to, weaponizer parts that aren't really good for anything. Most of his torso is just one big block with some fins hanging off of it. You can't do anything with it. Combiner wise. I thought maybe this is all because that vehicle mode. Look how neat the vehicle mode is. The one wheeled bike thing that looks so cool. It's very hard to keep upright. I've never figured out a really good way of doing it. There looks like there's little things that stick out of the wheels, but that doesn't stop the axle from turning. Also, he's a complete part former, which is not what I wanted at all. Yeah. Pretty much a disappointment all the way around on this toy. And even then, I don't think the armored robot mode even looks all that good. I think it just looks, I don't know, unwieldy. It's just a very, very awkward toy. Very, very weirdly delivered toy. And I know people who are still going to love this thing. But for me, is not what I wanted at all. I wanted, modern Pretender experience. And maybe this is a prototype for what a modern Pretender toy could be. But it ain't there yet. This needs refining. It needs to be up a size scale. That's what this needs to be. This would have been such a great Voyager class toy. As a deluxe, you didn't have the room and the budget to make this decent. It's, yeah, like the whole point of the video is the letdowns. This one was such a letdown. So, hear me out. What if a toy, from its initial photos, looked like an extremely impressive figure that did really cool things and really cool looking modes and fixed problems these type of toys typically have? What if it looks like it does everything you wanted it to do in a modern figure, and then when it came out, it was garbage? And it took a year for it to come out to find out that it was garbage. Why did Elita One take so long to release? What happened to the days where we had these huge, robust toy lines the same month the movie came out, and now I have to wait a year to complete a cast of 4 characters? And the last one to come out is the worst by far. Elita should be cool. The vehicle mode looks really cool. The robot mode looks really cool. She gets the gun and the jetpack from the movie, so you have extra accessories to make her price point make sense. But it doesn't work. Oh my god, it doesn't work. Her transformation's way too fiddly, and none of the parts fit right. She has this neat thing where the wheels transform and tuck into her torso, and that's supposed to be this really cool, effective, toyetic moment where the transformation's really neat, and then it sucks because nothing in the torso goes together very well. Man, I wanted her to be good. I was so I was so expecting to be over the moon for this toy. It looks like that it was designed to do really, really cool things, but just one or two things off here or there, and now none of it seems to work properly. If yours can hold together in robot mode, congratulations. You probably have a decent figure here, but man, this was widespread, and this was just way too numerous to ignore. Man, I feel bad. She's such a good character in that movie. I really like that character in that movie. I even love that we're getting like a lot of Elita One instead of RC. We're like showing proper respect to something closer to being the first female Transformer than RC typically gets touted as. But she needs some good toys already. So what if you had over a year of build-up? What if you had photos that accidentally got out and then took a year to even get an update on? What if it was a toy that got canceled from one toy line just to be shunted into another just to get it out into the market? What if you were waiting 7 years for it and it turned out to be the worst piece of plastic of the entire year? Hi, Hatchet. You knew it'd be here. You absolutely knew it would be here. So this completes the Studio Series Dreads. At long last. Yes, it took 7 years to complete a set of 3 Dreads. 7 years. And what did you get for that 7-year wait for all the people who really loved that scene and thought the Dreads were really badass and really, really cool? You got a mechanical dog toy that really can't do anything. You know, like a quadruped Transformer should be able to do some really cool things and poses in beast mode, and this one just can't. Partially because he's got an SUV hanging off of his back because the transformation is all shell former. And the other part is the shell that made it to his arms is so terribly attached, you're going to spend most of the time just trying to keep it there. Yeah, and it's not fun to transform. It is not pleasant to look at. You know, like it's got the shape. It's got the shape of the Dread, but like you can't get over that massive shell of backpack. You know, like it's not like a typical movie former where you can just fold it up into panels and hide it behind the robot. No, it's sticking up there. It's sticking up like some really weird saddle, or like that, like the big covered seat that you'd sit on top of like an elephant. You know, for like for like an Arabic prince to ride on. Yes, I saw Aladdin as a kid. So, was there any good thing about this? I couldn't find a single person who actually liked this toy. Like, for over a year of anticipation, 7 years to complete a set. God. No wonder it was going to come out in the buzzworthy Bumblebee line, because there was no way enough of these were going to sell at retail to actually work out for Hasbro's favor. Yeah, just absolutely the worst toy of the year. And that's not even disappointing. It is simply the worst. And there you go. That is the list. Now, as always, this is just my opinion. It is always up for interpretation. It is always up for whatever you make of it. You know, feel free to defend Hatchet or tell me that your Elita One works perfectly fine. That is all you, and that is for you in the comments section below. But thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.